Norfolk born, his father cut the whalebone stays. He learned the trade but felt the pull of something bigger than his days. Failed the craft and failed the crown, failed the tax collector's role. 2 wives gone in debts piled high, and England took its bitter toll. Staymaker's son, cast off from English ground. Staymaker's son, a new world to be found. Franklin pressed a letter in his hand, said go and claim what waits across the sea. Staymaker's son was sailing west. "37 years of nothing much, a coat worn thin, a broken name. He walked up to that westbound ship and left his old life to the flame. But Franklin saw behind those eyes a pen that history had not met. Said there's a continent on fire, son, and it hasn't found its voice just yet. Staymaker's son, cast off from English ground. Staymaker's son, a new world to be found. Franklin pressed a letter in his hand, said go and claim what waits across the sea. Staymaker's son was sailing west. The Staymaker's son was sailing west.
From English shores to a restless land, a man with ink upon his hand. No crown to serve, no throne to praise, only truth in dangerous days. The sons of liberty fill the air, and Adams called but none would dare. Write it down, let tyrants hear freedom's voice ringing clear. Ink like fire across the land, common sense in every hand. 46 pages bound in flame, a pamphlet that would shake a nation's name. From tavern halls to farmers' fields, a simple truth no king could shield. Write it down, let tyrants hear freedom's voice ringing clear. Ink like fire across the land, common sense in every hand. The most read pages of their time, besides the Bible, every line. From hand to hand across the land, it lit what no one else had planned. Raise the cry across the land, freedom written by his hand, not by sword but by the page. Thomas Paine ignites an age.
They called him majesty and grace. They bowed their heads and held their place. But Paine looked up and named the thing that no one dared to say of kings. No divine right sits on that throne, just a man of flesh and bone who took by force what was never his and called the people's freedom his. Royal brood of Britain, crowned ruffian on his throne. Royal brood of Britain, he will not leave us alone. The king is not a gift from God, he's just a tyrant with a rod. Royal brood of Britain, your reign is done. What father turns upon his sons and answers harvest fields with guns? What heaven blesses iron chains and calls the suffering of the plain? Monarchy is not a right, it's just a lie dressed up in might, and Paine laid bare the naked fraud for every farmer, every field, every yard. Royal brood of Britain, found a ruffian on his throne. Royal brood of Britain, he will not leave us alone. The king is not a gift from God, he's just a tyrant with a rod. Royal brood of Britain, your reign is done. Pamphlet lit what armies couldn't, said what the Congress wouldn't. 46 pages and a name, and nothing in America stayed the same. Royal brood of Britain, crowned ruffian on his throne. Royal brood of Britain, your kind has always known that when the people find their voice, can never gave them any choice. Royal brood of Britain, your reign is gone. Your reign is
December cold and the army breaks. Men are leaving for their families' sakes. Bare feet bleeding on the frozen ground, and the cause of liberty is running down. Paine sat down by a dying fire with a drumhead desk and a soldier's eye, and he wrote the words that stopped the flight and sent men back into the winter and night. These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier fades when the cold wind blows. The sunshine patriot turns and runs, but the man who stands here now will face the morning sun. These are the times. Washington read it to what remained. 100 men in the freezing rain, and something turned in those hollow eyes. A people choosing not to die.
They crossed the Delaware Christmas night. Through the ice and dark they held the line. What a pamphlet started, a pen kept alive. And the revolution learned to survive. These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier fades when the cold wind blows. The sunshine patriot turns and runs. But the man who stands here now will face the morning sun. These are the times. Not with a sword and not with a gun. Paine fought his war with what words could become. Every soldier standing on that frozen shore had heard his voice and chose to give once more. These are the times that triumph in souls. The summer soldier fades when the cold wind blows. The sunshine patriot turns and runs. But the man who stands here now will face the morning sun. These are the times. These are the times. The guns went quiet on the eastern shore. The king's men sailed and they sailed no more. The colony stood up and took the name of a nation born from a pamphlet's flames. They raised their glasses in the halls of power and claimed the victory of that long hard hour. But the man who lit the fire with his pen was standing in the yard and not let in. The rights are won. The banners fill the square. The rights are won. New men in every chair. But the man who wrote the words that made it so watched from the outside as the great ones took the show. The rights are won, but not for everyone. They gave him land up in New Rochelle, a quiet way of saying go and dwell. No seat of power, no title and no post, just a farm for the man who needed it most. Adams turned and Hamilton looked away. Jefferson smiled but had nothing to say. The founders built their monument of stone and left the Staymaker's son to tend his own. The rights are won. The batters fill the square. The rights are won. New men in every chair. But the man who wrote the words that made it so watched from the outside as the great ones took the show. The rights are won, but not for everyone.
just a place among the men he'd always known. But revolution built its walls as fast as kings, and locks the door on inconvenient things. The rights are one, the banners fill the square. The rights are one, new man in every chair. But the man who wrote the words that lit the age is walking home alone to an empty page. The rights are one, but not for everyone.
Burke took up his pen in London town, said the old ways are the only solid ground, that kings and lords and order handed down are the walls that keep the chaos from the crown. He said France has lost its mind across the water, and liberty without a leash will lead to slaughter. But Paine read every word and laid it bare, said you're defending chains and calling it care. These are the rights of man, not of kings and not of crown, written in no royal hand, they cannot be handed down. Burke, you dressed your prison up in tradition, but a cage is still a cage by any other name. The rights of man were never yours to give us, they came before your throne, they'll outlive your claim. Paine wrote back in England felt it land, said no generation binds the next man's hand. The dead should have no power on the living. What your fathers built is not yours to keep giving. A government that serves the ones who hold it is not a government at all, and history has been told it. The crown called it sedition, called it treason, but truth has never needed a king's permission. These are the rights of man, not of kings and not of crown, written in no royal hand, they cannot be handed down. Burke, you dressed your prison up in tradition, but a cage is still a cage by any other name. The rights of man were never yours to give us, they came before your throne, they'll outlive your claim. They came for him in London with a warrant and a writ, but Paine was on a boat to France before the warrant hit. He left his books behind him and he left his English name, and crossed the water into revolution once again. These are the rights of man, not of kings and not of crown, written in no royal hand, they cannot be handed down. Burke, your walls are crumbling into history. The rights of man are marching and they will not be contained. The Staymaker's son has crossed the water once more, and the world will hear his name. The world will hear his name. He crossed the channel with the wanted man's name, with France threw open every door. They'd read his words in Paris and in Lyons, and called him citizen and more. Elected to the convention by a people who had torn their monarchy apart, he stood among the firebrands and the dreamers, with America still burning in his heart. A new republic rising from the rubble, the same as what he'd built across the sea. He thought the world was turning toward the light. He thought that this was how it had to be. Citizen Paine, the revolution calls your name. Citizen Paine, two worlds and the same flame. What America had started, France was finishing. The age of kings was finally going down. Citizen Paine had found his second revolution, and liberty was coming for the crown. He walked the halls where Robespierre was rising, and Danton spoke like thunder in his chest. He did not see the storm behind the banners, or hear the iron sharpening beneath. The streets were loud with promises of mourning, every voice declaring something new. But Paine still saw the future in the shouting, too full of what could be to doubt the view. The crowds were chanting freedom in the cobblestones. The old world cracked open at the seams. He lived his whole life waiting for this moment, not knowing yet the distance between dreams. Citizen Paine, the revolution calls your name. Citizen Paine, two worlds and the same flame. What America had started, France was finishing. The age of kings was finally going down. Citizen Paine had found his second revolution, and liberty was coming for the crown. Comes through depends upon the hand. He'd seen one revolution build a nation. He had not seen one turn against its own. Citizen Paine, the revolution calls your name. Citizen Paine, two worlds and the same flame. He gave them everything a man could carry. His words, his fire, his faith, his years, his name. Citizen Paine had found his second revolution, and it would never be the same. It would never be the same. The convention met in January cold, And the king was brought before them to be judged. Every voice was crying out for blood, and the blade was waiting patient in the mud. Paine rose and asked them for the exile road. Send him west across the water, let him go. Not for love of crowns or love of kings, but for what a republic's mercy means. They heard the words in French but felt them wrong, a foreign voice protecting a foreign throne. The room turned cold and Marat called him fool, and the revolution turned its gaze on you. The king must not die by our hand, he said, or we become the thing we fought instead. But the hall was full of fury, full of fear, and Thomas Paine was the only one who'd hear. The king must not die. The king must not die. They shouted back in French he couldn't follow. His translator stumbled, lost the thread. The words came out in pieces, broken, hollow, and the meaning that he carried fell instead. He stood there in the noise without a nation, no American, no Englishman, no French, just a man who'd built his life on certain principles and watched them drown before he left the bench. The vote came down and Louis lost his head, and Paine walked out into the Paris gray. The revolution he had crossed an ocean for had chosen a different kind of way. The king must not die by our hand, he said, or we become the thing we fought instead. But the hall was full of fury, full of fear, and Thomas Paine was the only one who'd hear. The king must not die. The king must not die. He wasn't wrong about the principle, he was just alone inside the room. A man who'd outrun England's warrant, now standing in the shadow of the blade. The king must not die. The king must not die. And no one heard him. No one heard him at all. They came for the moderates in the night. 29 men pulled from their beds, the reasonable voices of the revolution, replaced by Robespierre's instead. Paine watched them take his allies from the chamber. The men who stood beside him in the hall, he knew the logic of the terror's hunger. When the middle falls, the edges fall. They stripped him of his citizenship by morning. A foreign pen no longer welcome here. The same republic he had crossed the water for was sharpening its blade and drawing near. When the moderates fell, the silence filled the room. When the moderates fell, the shadow became the doom. Every voice that called for reason, every hand that held the line. When the moderates fell, he knew that he was next in time.
house to house, through Paris autumn, tried to finish what he'd started on the page. The age of reason taking shape in candle shadow, the last work of a man who'd lost the stage. Monroe would later say he found him broken, a man worn down to something less than bone. But Paine kept writing through the closing darkness, a man who only knew one way to hold. December came, and with it came the war, and they walked them out beneath the winter sky. The revolution built on rights and reason had looked its architect the last goodbye. When the moderates fell, the silence filled the room. When the moderates fell, the shadow became the doom. Every voice that called for reason, every hand that held the line. When the moderates fell, he knew that he was next in time. Wasn't French, wasn't American enough. Every nation he had served had called his bluff. The man who gave the world its rights in plain, clear words was learning what it meant to have none of his own. When the moderates fell, he was next in
Doors swing shut on Luxembourg prison. December cold comes through the stone. They chalk the doors of those who will not see the morning, and Paine sits in the dark alone. He marks the days on nothing, marks the hours, fever burning through his bones. A man who moved 10,000 men to action has nowhere left to go. I came that night and chalked the doors for morning. His door swung open flat against the wall. When they closed it up, the mark faced inward, and the guards walked past and never called. Luxembourg, the silence and a stone. Luxembourg, a man reduced to bone. He lived by accident of darkness, the chalk mark on the wrong side of a door. Luxembourg was not yet done with Thomas Paine. He thought of common sense in Philadelphia. He thought of Valley Forge and frozen men. He thought of all the words that moved a nation, and wondered if he'd write a word again. The fever took him down into the darkness. Monroe would find him barely holding on. The shadow of the man who lit two nations, still breathing when he should have long been gone. No word came from Washington, no letter, no voice across the water said, hold on. The man who wrote the words that crossed the Delaware was left to face the Luxembourg alone. Luxembourg, the silence and the stone. Luxembourg, a man reduced to bone. He lived by accident or darkness, a chalk mark on the wrong side of a door. Luxembourg was not yet done with Thomas Paine. He did not pray to any king in heaven. He did not break and he did not bend. He held the thread of what he still believed in, and waited for whatever came. Luxembourg, the silence and the stone, a chalk mark